Imagine going to bed hungry every night, not because you're on a diet, but because you simply can't afford to buy food. Sadly, this is the reality for 30 million Americans who are forced to go hungry due to exorbitant grocery prices. In a country as prosperous as the United States, this statistic is not only alarming, but also raises critical questions about the state of our society. How can so many people struggle to put food on the table? What are the consequences of such widespread hunger? And most importantly, what can we do to address this crisis? Join us as we explore these questions and shed light on an issue that demands urgent attention. Food banks are being forced to fill the gap as many families struggle to pay for food and other basics as food prices rise. Without government aid, the U.S. food issue will become worse. Do I pay the electricity bill this month, or do I make my rent payment on time? Should I risk running out of petrol to purchase enough food to feed my family this week, or should I buy gas to drive to work? Millions of Americans are faced with difficult decisions like these every day, and as the cost of goods rises, these decisions are only becoming more difficult. Families are increasingly resorting to food banks to satisfy their dietary requirements as they try to stretch budgets that don't purchase as much as they did last year. While they provide vital assistance to communities in need, food banks are not exempt from the effects of increasing prices. Prices are rising, making it more difficult to pay for the food and administrative expenses that allow food banks to assist our hungry friends. If food programs from the epidemic period come to an end, there will undoubtedly be a greater demand for food, making the current situation untenable. To guarantee that no family goes hungry and that food banks can continue to serve everyone in need, federal aid is required. The cost of one item that accounts for a significant portion of every American's budget continues to grow even though inflation has declined for 7 consecutive months: the food we consume at home. According to federal labor statistics, grocery inflation increased in January despite a modest drop in general prices throughout the country from the previous month. Costs for food purchased by consumers to make their own meals at home increased 11.3% in January compared to the same month last year. Despite a gradual decline in total inflation, many people are still feeling the squeeze since prices for things like secondhand automobiles and airline fees are now more affordable. The most affected groups by the grocery store's consistently high costs are senior citizens and low-income families. The highest rise in the cost of living for Social Security claimants since 1981 was an 8.7% increase for 2023. Nevertheless, the increase is still below the cost of food, and the poor often spend a larger percentage of their total income on food. What is the reason for this skyrocketing price increase? One of the main reasons is the supply chain problems. Let's face it, the epidemic caused food production, along with everything else, to slow down. Yet even when things return to normal, the consequences of the last few years are still being felt. That package of beef doesn't simply magically materialize at the grocery store, believe it or not. On a farm, it all begins. Also, it has been difficult for farmers to get these seeds, fertilizers, animal feed, and equipment they need to cultivate and prepare all for the delectable foods we consume. Also, several regions of the nation are now experiencing a scarcity of irrigation water and agricultural labor. But despite the longer time it takes to manufacture food, American hunger isn't decreasing. And you got it, price increases are brought on by people buying food more quickly than it can be produced. Then we have travel expenses. Food production and processing are already difficult. Nevertheless, getting it to you, the customer, is another issue. In the United States, the cost of delivering commodities reached record levels in 2022, mostly due to a shortage of truck drivers. Transporting groceries to your neighborhood grocery now comes with a higher price tag due to the exorbitant petrol rates. Nevertheless, not all of the food we consume is grown in America. In actuality, 15% of all American food is imported. Also, while port congestion and ocean freight rates have begun to decline in 2022, the overall cost of international transportation is still rather high. Foods like bananas, chocolate, and coffee become more costly as a result, which may help to explain why your daily Starbucks habit is costing you more than normal. Then we have global elements. The world market has an impact on food prices as well. Other natural disasters, such as drought, fire, extreme weather, and others may destroy crops and increase food costs for everyone. In an effort to stop the COVID-19 virus from spreading, or avoid food shortages in their own countries, several nations have also restricted commerce. The war between Russia and Ukraine is another factor that continues to have an impact on the world economy, particularly the agricultural sector. Almost two-thirds of the world's sunflower oil production, as well as nearly a third of the world's wheat and barley, are produced in Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine is a major corn producer. Evidently, Ukraine is unable to export anything at the moment, and several trade restrictions have been imposed on Russia. We were depending on the supplies that had been imported before the commencement of the conflict. Yet, prices for items like bread, cereal, and cooking oils are starting to rise today. There is still hope for your food budget, which is wonderful news, because you can control how you purchase food even if you may not be able to control the price of food. These are some steps you may take to fight inflation and reduce your grocery bill. First, do some research. Make sure you're just spending what you have to and only purchase what you need is easy with meal planning. It's wise to conduct some study before making your shopping list now more than ever. Check out what's in season and what's on offer at your neighborhood grocery store. Are diced tomatoes 3 for the price of 2? You seem to be preparing salsa. Just by organizing your meals around the weekly promotions, you may save a ton of money. Then, use your resources. Nobody enjoys throwing food out, particularly when doing so costs $3 for one avocado. Therefore, before you go to the store, give your cupboard and refrigerator a good hard look. Even if you don't have all the ingredients, try to cook a dinner with what you currently have. You have some rice. To your list, tack on some beans. Is there a little milk in the refrigerator? Pancakes may be made using it. Remaining chicken fingers? Make some tacos with some tortillas. You may save money and avoid tossing away perfectly delicious food by taking an inventory each week. Win-win situation. You should purchase store brands. Even if costs are rising, buying generic brands will still save you a few bucks overall. Despite the fact that you may not be ready to give up your favorite brand of cereal or cookies just yet, most essentials, such as milk, canned veggies, spices, and flour, are essentially the same. According to Consumer Reports, the majority of store brands are comparable to name brands in terms of overall flavor and quality and are typically 20 to 25% less expensive. To ensure that you are indeed saving money, compare prices while you are in the aisle. You need to alternate where you shop. Even if costs are rising everywhere, you may still save money by buying your groceries from less expensive retailers. By offering store brands, emphasizing locally sourced items, or requiring you to bag your own groceries, stores like Aldi, Trader Joe's, and H-E-B keep prices low for its patrons. And don't overlook your neighborhood farmers market. Wait, farmers markets aren't more costly, right? No, never. With the high cost of transportation at the moment, buying eggs and locally grown veggies may actually be more cost-effective than buying them at the supermarket. Also, you're supporting regional farmers. Don't consume as much meat. Hey, we're not telling you to convert overnight to vegetarianism, but the cost of beef is currently absurd. Even while you may not be prepared to give up your morning bacon habit just yet, consider swapping out a few of your weekly dinners for a good salad, pasta, or vegetable dish. There are many excellent vegetarian meals available, and you might discover a new favorite. Make your food frozen. Invest in supplies now and freeze some meals if you're concerned about food costs rising further. To make a few casseroles, all you need is a day and some freezer space. Be sure to only prepare foods that you don't mind eating repeatedly for a time. Adapt your food spending. A budget is the finest tool you have to combat food inflation, so you can confidently navigate the aisles of the grocery store when you have a strategy in place for your finances before the month even starts. A budget also has the nice feature of being adaptable, which you should do. So let's face it, you could still wind up spending more on food than you normally would even after employing all these money-saving strategies. Yet, it's incredibly simple to keep track of all your food expenditures when you budget with every dollar. Change some numbers about, and identify additional areas where you can make savings. Your budget should work with you rather than against you. And remember, despite rising food costs, you will survive this. All you need is some deliberate preparation, concentration, imagination, and of course your trusted budget. As we come to the end of this video, we hope that you now have a better understanding of the dire situation that millions of Americans are facing every day. While it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the problem, it's important to remember that every small action can make a big difference. By donating food to banks, volunteering, and supporting local programs that tackle hunger, we can all play a role in ensuring that nobody in our society goes hungry. So let's work together to create a world where access to food is a basic human right and not a privilege for a few. Thank you for watching, and please share this video to help spread awareness of this important issue.